It's just, curiosity. Anything can start with a little curiosity and trying it, but we're definitely, this is the bomb, and now we're doing this. This is like a daily thing that we're doing every day. And I think really it kind of started escalating, you know what I mean? Because you ask yourself, what's in ecstasy? You got so many different chemicals in it. Some people say it's coke, some say it's heroin, some people say it's a multitude of different things that's put into these pills or whatnot. And if I did ecstasy, why would a little bit of coke?
Right, it's the same thing, right?
Same thing, right? Just take off now I ain't got to worry about if it's some heroin in it. I ain't got to worry about what else could be possibly cut with. But when I stopped doing coke, ecstasy, and I started dabbling in the coke, that's when things grabbed a hold, I wouldn't say I was just so strung out I was functioning. I was able, to maintain this facade as if, I can carry myself in a fashion that it wasn't bothering me. But, anything after so long that you're doing in a lifestyle in which you become accustomed, it starts to fade. That facade started fading. It starts to show the lack of sleep, the blacks under the eyes, the bad stuff that goes around it, what you see with your friends and how it affects things. And, it definitely took effect. I can say that.
Okay, so... And this is something that would shock a lot of people, especially on the outside. If you're in recovery or maybe in active addiction and you're listening right now, you know exactly what I'm about to say probably, that it shocks people, and you said functioning.
Yeah.
It shocks people that you could do a line or somebody could, shoot up or, I could have a freaking fifth of liquor and go out and people would not even know. Yeah. They could smell the liquor. Right. But they wouldn't be able to really tell that you were hopped up because it becomes a normal thing.
Yeah.
You're doing it so much. It's normal. Like when I went to the hospital and it was like 0.53 something, the cop was like, I've never seen anybody that drunk before. She's like, how are you even talking? Like, you don't even seem drunk, And I was like, yeah, that's kind of the problem. But it's the everyday stuff that we could do. It just blows people away, and they see movies and they see somebody, doing a bunch of coke and they're all, or they see somebody shooting up and falling over. And,
yeah, that becomes a stereotype.
Yeah, and, sometimes that does happen, and there's a lot of drunk puking and a lot of stuff like that, yeah.
Overdoses,
but more times than not, though, there's not, at least in my experience, so I don't know. Maybe that's just kind of beating a dead horse because people probably would know that. But if you're listening because you have a family member or a friend who's in active addiction and you're just trying to figure it all out, we've had people send us emails and stuff saying, hey, it really helps to get a point of view from somebody who's going through it.
Absolutely.
Now what support do you have besides me, of course?
Oh, man. I have a lot of support in the community, man. As when you met me, I was going through some court legal problems. And that was a down spot in my life. That was like at the crossroads where it was like I was a step from the bottom of my barrel. But leaving treatment and relapsing, I found that in the midst of that barrel I was at, that I found that I still had support. So, of course you and all, but one big supporter is my wife. Another big supporter, my workout partner, Big Joe, my mother-in-law, my sister, my nephew. It's some people in the community, to celebrate recovery. Tim and Julie Morgridge. People that reach out that's got genuine interest in, my well-being, welfare. It feels really good, man. That's a really good thing.
Yeah, it's important to have those, and it doesn't have to be like 50 people either.
No.
I have a handful of people, and I was kind of joking when I said, but I'm there for you, but I'm there at a distance.
Absolutely, we haven't really been in contact over the last, because as you know, I just got out of treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I got out like after 52 days, and then I carried it on, the last 30 days. But I'll tell you this, and most people, and I don't know if a lot of people probably be able to relate, but when you're in your active addiction, most people stray away and isolate from people that are doing good, because nobody likes to be around somebody when they're high. Nobody likes to be around somebody when they're actively using. And in the process of when I left treatment, I think I came to Bear River maybe once or twice within that month. And shortly after, I relapsed. So, our relationship became to get strained due to the fact that my, being ashamed of, falling back, and relapse is a normal thing for people that actually have issues, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it does cause a strain for good friendships in turn, because you're not able to maintain that good rapport, and if you feel some type of way about yourself, and you feel humiliated or from your actions or guilty, you're gonna carry that shame. So and like I said, in the midst of it, we kind of drifted in a minute, Mm-hmm. We talked about 217 in the beginning, and you getting the thing started up, and I was all for it. And like I said, man, when I got home, it was like, yeah, let's do this, let's do that, and everything intention seemed good, man. But I was still in the midst of dealing with life away. You got your treatment, mm-hmm. You got this life right here, inside here. And then it's like when you leave the confines of that I want to say happy place.
Yeah,
safe
zone.
That little nice, little comfy, safe zone. And you're back in the modern, society. You're dealing with issues that you left before you came in.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people like myself had court things that I had to go and deal with, and everything else was put on the back burner. And but here we are.
I'm proud of you for getting out of treatment and then dealing with what you need to deal with. And that's something that hits a lot of people more as well, because they get out of treatment and, like you said, boom, back to reality, back to bills, back to life.
The residuals.
And here you were in a happy zone, fun time, having a good time. You were a safe zone. Nobody was shutting your electric off. Nobody was saying, hey, you owe me, or hey, we need you to pay this. We need you to do. And then boom, you get hit with that, and it's a rude wake up.
Well,
and
absolutely.
That's why a lot of people come out of treatment and they do relapse, and like you said, it's a normal thing, and they're just not prepared. And some treatment centers really try their best. Let me tell you, I've been to a lot of them to get you prepared for that, and others are just like, all right, bye, give me another person in this bed so we can get paid.
Well, I'll say this like this: Bell River was an excellent establishment. I mean, the people there, the staff, to group members and passings. There's a lot of good things about that place. But I can honestly say that I left prematurely. I assumed I was ready to tackle on my issues, and I left as soon as I got the first green ticket to go. And I wasn't ready. And let's just do this. Let's just say this. When people say, "Oh, well, it's the real," no, it's you. It's like a person told me a long time ago, like, it's what you put in. And if you don't put the work in, and a person can, like how they say, lead a mule to dead horse to, or a horse to water. You can't make the mule drink, or whatever that saying is. I mean, it's the reality is, man. They're gonna present you with a means to work on your recovery, and you just have to put the footwork in, man. You got to be honest with yourself. So for me, when I left and I came back into those issues, I wasn't ready to deal with them because I didn't have a plan. I was in the moment. I was outside smoking them cigarettes, just biding my time, feeling like I got clean time under my belt. And, when it hit me all at once and I relapsed, I went down that path, and I had to wake up. And I was telling you about that story, and I don't know some point we can get into it, but I want to say I watched this movie, how Dr. Bob and Bill, when they started AA, and he had that light shine in on his bed. And, no, that didn't happen to me. I had a scary, traumatic event that really, got me into like, okay, You need to get yourself back in treatment. And there, you know, it was like recentering myself and actually taking my program serious and finding a higher power, something that was to believe in greater than myself. I realized it wasn't just saying wasn't rehab talk. This is like my life. You know, I was at the turning point of deciding what was the key factors. What did I need to do? What did I need? How do I need to prepare? You know, preparations, they definitely was needed, because you can sit there in that safe zone, but when you leave there and those problems resurface, how are you going to deal with them? How are you going to be able to focus on them residuals from everything that you did bad prior to going into rehab, or those broken relationships that you broke, you know, before you left and went into treatment? How are you going to deal with those when you get out? And I had to prepare my mind mentally, because I had messed up with a lot of people, man, and it's way outside of my character. But you know, when you're in the process of your addiction, man, you do things that you're not proud of. So the first thing for me was start to tackle that shame and that guilt. A lot of people don't think of that. You know, they don't reflect on that, and their self-pity goes along with it. I had to get myself out of that mode and be forthcoming, be really open and honest about my life as far as what really thing that pained me in doing so. And I was freed in that sense of just, for one, just being, you work in the steps as you go, but I was free from that sense that I was just bottled all up, just, you know, full of that guilt. And it really worked in the sense of me being able to do that, because then it was starting to focus on other issues outside. You know, my family, you know, my children, my wife, my job, you know, a lot of things began to fall in line. And the longer I stayed in there, the better things became, because things was starting to open up, and I was able to clear my head and be able to know the difference. So that was tremendous in the start of the beginning of this recovery. I mean, I still got a long way to go. Hey, 93 days, but I mean, that's a proud moment for me. You're dealing with a guy that's been in the active addiction for the last over 10 years. And we wasn't looking at, you know, I had that YOLO mindset, you know. You only live once, you know, and I'm going to live this to the baddest, you know, through jails and prison and, you know. But like I said, like you just asked me, you know, it's people that see potential in you and they support you. Even when you're in your bad, you know, they still see the good in you and they don't just give up on you. A lot of people will, but the people that really care, they won't, you know.
That close circle. And it's hard to ask them for help. And a lot of times we're either feeling, like you said, shame, and we don't want to ask him for help because they're thinking, oh, he's just, you know, Corey needs money. He says it's for his electric, or, you know, Ricky needs money. He says it's for his car. We know we know where that money's going. And,
you know where that's
for. And it might really need, you know, we really might need the car, and we really might need the electric. But instead of asking, you know what, I'll take my last $40 and go to the liquor store, you know, or I'll just say, F it.
We'll deal with the plan later.
You only live once, you know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out later. I'll figure it out drunk. Yeah. And that never happens. I ended up in the hospital every time. But that, and, you know, asking for help, don't be too proud. You know, there's people that love you. They want you to get better. They really do. And
they really do.
Yeah, and just ask for help. And maybe that is treatment center. Maybe that's just outpatient. Maybe just talk. Ask for help.
It's
don't
humbling yourself, man. It's actually humbling yourself. You know, it goes to add on to what you're saying. It's humbling yourself. And the will to want to ask for help because you want to get yourself better. You know, it's hard, man.
Especially when you're coming out of the, you know, drunk, or you're coming out of the high and the withdrawal's coming on. Like, it's hard. It's, I'd say, impossible to forgive yourself right then at that moment. And you don't have to right then, but you have to get to the point, you know, where you have to forgive yourself, because that's when you start feeling better, and that's when you drop the shame, that's when you drop the ego. You can ask for help. You can admit, yeah, I did that. Not proud of it.
And I'll say this, honestly, a lot of people don't think about this, but that's when the most time when people coming out of those, when they in them bold moments, when they, you know, them drunken, depressing moments, that's when you most line a person, most humblest, they want the help. It's when they're not. and they're in that active cycle. When everything is going good, you won't pay them up to